I told you I could talk this guy out of this car.
And you did.
Yep.
And you know what? We have something in common, Freiburger.
What?
Maybe more than one thing. We both love 68 darts.
Oh, absolutely.
And big block Mopars in 440 cubic inch size.
It has everything we love, all in one tidy little patinaed package.
I know, it's a beauty.
If you haven't seen prior episodes of Roadkill Garage that feature this car, here's what went down. Steve and I were driving the Crusher Impala right through the mountains here, and we pulled over to reset some GoPros and stuff, and dude runs up and he's like, hey, I've got a 440 Dart, you can come thrash in the dirt on my property. And we're like,
how can you say no to that?
Yeah, we're like, can we thrash the Crusher Impala too? They're like, yeah. And so we came over here, and sure enough, this guy Dusty's got this 440 Dart, and he and I were doing donuts in it, and before we even finished the donuts, I'm in the car, and I tell the guy, you need to sell me this car, or I need to buy this, or how much, or whatever.
So are you selling me it?
It's the Wayback Machine for you, too.
It is. That is the key to the whole thing. Back when I was a staffer on Hot Rod Magazine, this is circa 1994-95, I built a really well-known project vehicle, which was a 68 Dart with a big block, known as the Cheap Thrills Dart. I guess that put my name on the map for butchering stuff with like hose clamp transmounts and stuff like that. And this car reminded me of it so much. This was a pure nostalgia play. Here's the Skinny. It's got a swapped-in 440 big block, as well as a 727 automatic and an 8 3/4 rear end that's reported to have 456 gears in the thing. It seems to run pretty good. It's got a Mopar M1 single plane intake, aftermarket carburetor, air cleaner, MSD ignition, stuff like that. I'm pretty sure the charging system doesn't work. I know that the exhaust system has been cut off the thing, and I suspect it probably overheats on the highway, especially with those gears if we drive it too fast. So what we're gonna do right now is try and fix those things, and then our goal is to drive it from here in Onyx, California, all the way back to Steve's place, north of Bakersfield. Is it Onyx?
That's close enough. I'm gonna do that.
All right. First up, we have an exhaust system, and we're gonna install it. Cheers.
You know what?
Huh.
We're gonna make this luxurious with actual mufflers.
I lubed that, so don't put it in the dirt.
I know, David. It's not my first day on the job.
He always mansplains me.
You think this is safe? Should I put it in neutral so it rolls up as it jacks, or should we just let it slide off the K-member?
It's not. I have it hooked. That's why I keep checking it.
Oh, okay.
Because I was way ahead of you on that.
Now I apologize. Seriously.
Yeah. If this came off, it can go on, right? Whoa. Hey, Steve.
It just went right on.
Yeah.
I thought so. Ah.
Yep. Okay. That's good enough? We got at least 3/4 now.
Oh, okay.
Ah, that's loud. We got the exhaust on, we got all the fluids checked, ready for donuts.
Try it out. I've never even driven this car. Hey, the power steering is good.
Starts pretty good.
Yeah.
And we got an evil drive shaft shake.
Yeah. The rear shocks on the car are completely blown out.
Totally.
You see it went straight to 4,500?
The converter is loose.
Yeah.
I could tell, I really felt it. It's not fast either.
No, let's see what it does from a dig.
Okay. pretty gutless.
It runs about like I would expect it to run, to be honest
It's
with
a
you.
motorhome 440.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just compare this with the crop duster and those burnouts for distance.
Oh, come on.
I have to admit, I'm surprised it's as doggy as it is.
Really?
With that gear and that converter, I figured it would at least annihilate tires, but it doesn't. I think the converter is probably really close to the horsepower peak.
It's 4,500 on the stall speed.
Right, that's what I mean. And the horsepower peak's probably 5,000.
Yeah,
It might be 4,800.
it might be.
This is among the worst drive shaft vibrations I've ever had.
Yeah, it's pretty horrific.
It's not as bad as when we made our own drive shaft for the crop duster.
That was even worse, you're right.
Yeah,
I thought that was gonna be perfectly good.
it wasn't.
It would suck to pitch the drive shaft out the rear end of this car.
It would.
It's pretty comfortable though.
Oh, it's a dart.
I know. Like the seating position is ideal.
I know, it's a dart. And actually, I must admit that the bucket seat dart is actually superior to the bench.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Whoa! Wow, I did not think they were stopping.
No.
I think we might have to trailer this.
Into the drive shaft?
Yeah. And fail. The dart ends up being a lot better than expected in some ways and worse than others. And the worst way is that the drive shaft is wrecked. It was vibrating really bad when we were on the highway and doing burnouts and stuff. I crawled under it. The front U-joint is falling apart. So instead of driving it the 50 miles back to Steve's place on a windy mountain road, we're gonna go ahead and trailer it. And when we get back there, we will fix that and more. So this is gonna shock you about what we're gonna be doing to this car in this episode, because it's not really like making it go faster or being better, even though it's sort of a pooch. Nope, this is gonna be all about cosmetics. I've said a million times, I don't care about paint and everything, but I like stuff to be mechanically clean, and this isn't. And to be honest, this paint in the engine compartment is pretty unsightly.
Well, thank you, Freiburger, because I didn't want to say anything because...
Oh, it's embarrassing.
I didn't want to hit like a nerve or, upset you, but I didn't know if I could live with this engine bay color.
I can't.
No.
So the plan here is take the 440 and the transmission completely out, clear up all of this wiring and junk and weird cooling system and ugly battery and all of that.
Oh, it is ugly.
And then, yes, Steve is going to paint the engine compartment in the original Dodge Dart bronze color.
I can't wait for the improvement.
It's gonna be massive.
Oh, yeah.
Off with the hood.
Okay.
Steve always likes to put these on the roof of the car, and I hate that.
I don't.
Because
Only if
then
it's
it
your
dents
car.
it. Oh, that's
I've
it.
never done that on one of my cars.
Normally, you don't take the grill out when you're pulling an engine out of your Dodge Dart, but since the radiator core support is all cut away for this installation of the radiator that I don't necessarily approve of, it's gonna make removing the engine super easy. We're gonna take it out with the transmission because it can pull it forward and right through what's gonna be a gaping hole in the maw of our Dart. I really don't like the whole cooling system arrangement. The radiator is mounted where the core support's supposed to be, and that's all been cut out and the radiator butchered in. Now this radiator has no drain cock and it has no fill. So they added this header tank, which by the routing of this hose, I don't know how coolant can flow in here or how air can escape to make room for coolant. So I'm gonna get rid of the whole mess and replace it with something a little more conventional.
Can I remind you that I'm wearing canvas shoes?
I'm wearing sandals. Although I don't like the feeling of antifreeze between my toes.
It may seem reckless to be directly underneath the radiator while cutting the hose. Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen like that.
Can I get a little privacy here, man? Dude, you ever been to a baseball game before?
Here's a common roadkill garage trick not everybody knows. You know when you've got a spark plug wire and it's stuck onto the spark plug, like the rubber sticks to the porcelain, the thing's snapped on too hard, and it's in a place where you can't get your fingers on it to actually pull it off, so you grab the wire up here and it pulls the terminal out of the boot, and you end up buying a new set of wires. Well, here's the trick. Your standard flat blade screwdriver, you wanna stick it in here, get it right behind that boot, pry against the header, and there you go, done. Ha-ha. Ah, this whole thing is so butch.
Oh,
What's going
it's
on?
coming out. It's pouring out of the... Come on, hold it like this.
Haven't you ever been to a baseball game?
Okay, let's walk this thing out of here before we...
I thought you would just grab it.
It's like Lake Erie down there.
Bye-bye. Think I got it? Good morning. Today, 4,000 Audis, Porsches, and Bentleys are burning out of control, floating on an abandoned ship in the Atlantic Ocean. Meanwhile, we're recycling a Dodge Dart.
Yeah, I think it's probably more eco-friendly because this thing's been here on Earth for 50 years and it still hasn't burst into flames once.
Not once.
No.
Maybe later.
Well, yeah, we still have time.
We're gonna pull the 440, then clean this whole thing up. I guess we have to pressure wash the engine, undo the hideous paint in the engine compartment.
It's like good things are happening.
There we go, that was
yeah.
the pop.
That's it.
Okay. Okay. You know what I have to say right now?
It's kind of nice not having the whole
Yes.
radiator core support.
The worst part of the car is now the best part of the car, meaning the cutout core support, which I actually hate. You know, in the 80s, I would have never bought this car under any circumstances because of that. That would have just been unheard of levels of butchery.
Yeah. Look at that, access. Easy as pie.
Yeah. I'm also surprised how level it's hanging.
Yeah, the level was really good.
Okay, the 440 has an actual casting date right on the side of it, as well as a casting number. Oh, wow, that came off good. All right. That says 76. That explains why it's got the water pump with the outlet on the passenger side. And you know what else that means? This is probably yet another motorhome 440. Man, the legend of the motorhome 440 continues. This thing right here is a transmission blow shield. It's like a carbon fiber thing made by CSR that goes on, and if the transmission explodes, then it keeps the parts from flying through the floor and cutting your foot off. And that's actually a very real problem with the torque flight, but we're gonna remove it because this thing is too gutless to worry about it, because this is in the way of everything else. Once I get this off, then we're gonna roll it all outside and pressure wash it.
Now that David's got the whole engine bay cleaned up really nice, what I'm gonna do is get it ready for paint. Now this isn't a full restoration. It's just kind of a fix-up, and I'm gonna scuff it with 320 grit sandpaper. I'm gonna use the DA sander in places where I can get to it. We'll finish it up by hand. David's gonna remove a couple of more items, maybe the windshield wiper motor and the master cylinder and stuff. And we'll go ahead and prime it and paint it. That's all there is to it.
It's too late in the evening to start the painting process on the Dart, and so we're gonna leave that till tomorrow. We're gonna start working on the engine. Normally when I build an engine, I'm really picky about like not painting over gaskets and making sure all the bolts are black and not painted. This, we're just gonna spray can rebuild. Full on fog this thing. First, we're gonna take the transmission off of it, then it's gonna just be hemi-orange as long as we got sunlight.
Normally when I paint an engine, I use automotive urethane and I completely prep it out like perfectly, but this is just kind of a rattle can rebuild. To make it a little bit better, I'm gonna hit it with some primer first, and then we'll shoot it with some hemi-orange VHT, which is actually pretty good rattle can paint.
So I guess we're gonna let this engine dry, and in the morning we're gonna deal with the Dart again. I have a new plan that's gonna make the Dart even more gooder.
Well, I have my suspicions, Freiburger.
Yeah, and it's gonna be more work for you.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
That's what we do here
Yeah, I
on
know.
Roadkill Garage. See you in the morning. We got the Dart inside. Steve already started detailing the engine. Spray can job came out okay.
It looks a lot better than it did.
Yeah. And now I'm going to install this fuel pump. After the fuel pump, are you ready to drop it in?
Yeah.
It's all detailed up. Instead of rolling the hoist to the car, how about we roll the car to the engine?
It's less work because we're already standing here. You think it's got to go that way?
Yes.
Yes.
So we're gonna back up and steer. Ooh, no, don't do that.
What
You
happened?
just shot power. Stop! I said don't do that.
I didn't know what you were talking about. Oh, no.
You shot power steering fluid everywhere on the brand new paint.
I forgot that we disconnected the power steering hoses, so we have open fittings. And when you turn the steering box, it pukes out hydraulic fluid, which is basically ATF. What you're supposed to do is take an extra piece of hose and loop the outlet to the inlet. That way it just recirculates. Well, that was pretty bad.
Uncontrolled discharge.
Yes. It's time for a Steve Dulcich top tip. Now, when you disconnect the power steering lines from your power steering pump, you have an open pressure port and an open return port, and no matter which way you turn the steering wheel, you're gonna squirt a bunch of transmission fluid, or power steering fluid, if you will, right out. So you can take an ordinary piece of hose, 3/8 in this case, and you just loop from one fitting to the other fitting, creating an infinite loop. It's like a microcosm of the whole solar system. It goes around and around forever. So that's done. We will never have to worry about spilling any fluid.
Okay, push, push, push. There we go. Wow. Okay. I think down more. There, it's in. The headers that came with this car are a Shorty Tri-Y from a company called Schumacher Creative Services. They also make the mounts to put the 440 onto the Slant 6 K-member in this car. That company went out of business and recently came back. I haven't dealt with them since they came back, but it's like awesome parts for Mopar engine swaps. I'm hoping their header installs easily, and it's not. So the question is, will it come up from the bottom?
I think so.
I think it might. Now I got it trapped in here.
No.
Can we jack the car up?
Want to grab some jack stands, Freiburger?
Nope, it's not gonna get past that steering column from here. It's hitting the firewall.
I'll jack the engine up by the front corner on the driver's side.
Okay. There. Okay. Whoa.
Are you gonna drop it in from the top?
Easily.
Ah, that was cake.
Yeah.
Okay, time for the starter motor. Instead of using the stock, heavy, old-style starter, I've got this late Model 1. The application here is a 95 Dodge truck with a 5.9 engine, and it's a permanent magnet style, so it's way lighter and actually has more turning torque than the factory unit. Being more compact is way better when you have headers because it's easier to fit in there, and hopefully it'll fit with our combination. No problem there, David.
Cool. Now all we're doing is just the little stuff that's on the list, you know, this just annoying things that take time. Accessory drive plugs, plug wires, battery tray, breather, throttle cable, stuff like that. It's gonna take us forever. But fortunately, through the power of editing, you will not have to sit through it. I, however, am gonna have to live all of this.
What I have here is a rebuilt drive shaft. We took it to Mike at Driveline Specialties, and he styled us out like he always does, and it's a simple install. Having the core support cut out of the car makes it super convenient to work on. Unfortunately, it gives us nothing to mount the radiator to. So what I'm gonna do is just a simple solution. A piece of angle iron will go right down in here, and I'll drill that out and mount it to this rail on the radiator, and I'll do likewise at the top, and the radiator will be mounted up solid. Simple solutions are usually the best. Even though the car had an electric fan before, we're gonna switch to a mechanical fan. Number one, because it fits, and number two, because it's just completely trouble-free.
I had just put this carburetor on to mock up the fuel line and stuff like that, but unfortunately we're not gonna use it. This thing just glugs fuel, and I don't have time to fix it. Honestly, I would have fixed it if we weren't on a TV deadline, but instead, we're going straight to the 750 Brawler. Wait for it. That is our new 750 Brawler, the least expensive 750 double pumper that I could get at Summit Racing. Oh man, that fan's really far from the radiator. We didn't want that stubby clutch, but it's what we had. And of course, you'd also want a shroud, all that stuff. You wouldn't want this sticking up like this, but it's an easy bolt-on change later. Right now, it looks great for TV, and that's all that matters. All right, I'm super annoyed right now. We've been waiting for the very last thing, which is an aftermarket distributor to put in here, because I didn't want to have to put an MSD box or a control box, partially because it's ugly, partially because we don't have time to deal with the wiring. So I ordered this aftermarket distributor that's supposed to be a ready to run, and it's a Pertronics, and it does say on the ad for this that you might have to grind a cylinder head to make it fit. I assumed that meant with an aftermarket cylinder head, but in truth, you have to grind a stock iron head. I also didn't pay enough attention to realize that it uses a Chevy type distributor cap, so it's larger around and taller, meaning that it's gonna hit both our standpipe over here and the cylinder head and our fuel line, and I'm gonna have to redo the spark plug wires. So bottom line is we're not using this because I'm not gonna grind my cylinder head, move that pipe, redo the spark plug wires, and change the fuel line. Unfortunately, that means we have to figure out how to make another distributor work, because the one that we took out of this engine was garbage. So here comes another couple hours of production time.
It turned out that our aftermarket distributor doesn't actually fit in the engine that it's intended to go in. So I've got this old point style distributor. I'm gonna take it apart, clean it, set the gap, and it'll be ready to run. I have the distributor cleaned up and rebuilt. I'm gonna hand this off to Freiburger, and he's gonna install it.
50-year-old parts from the diesel shed for the win. This is vintage. See that little port right there with the little door? Pull it down. That's for oiling your distributor. Part of your normal lubrication strategy in 1958. Yep, there we go. Got it. Man, having the bumper on it makes a world of difference, even though it's dented. I just don't care. Do you remember how it was when we first got it, with that radiator hanging down and the dangling trans cooler and no bumper? And
yeah,
it looked all...
Yeah, it was all screwed up.
Yeah, this is way better. Oh, it's got huge exhaust leaks. Why?
I know.
Okay. I meant thumbs up, not rev it more.
Oh, I thought you knew more RPM.
No, it was maxed out there. That's 37 degrees of timing, but I have a feeling there's so much swing in this distributor, it's not gonna idle happy.
We haven't tuned the idle circuit at all.
Well, bottom line, this thing runs. We're gonna get it all tuned up. We'll have to figure out the timing, which is kind of a problem with the stock distributor. I have to set our new carburetor, and I think pretty soon we'll be doing burnouts. But look at it. The beauty is the key in this episode. It went down the hole of death.
What did the bolt?
No, the half-inch socket.
Oh,
We would probably need a baby light to spot it in there.
Did you get it?
yeah.
Great. We know it looks good. The question is, did we make it run better?
I'm gonna wager and say yes.
It's perfectly good.
Yeah, it's actually really functional.
Nice work, Dulcich.
Nice work, Freiburger.
Yeah.
That's night and day.
That's night and day. This transmission's not awesome, but it's okay.
It's just a stock transmission, I think.
Yeah.
We never checked the fluid, did we?
No. But this converter came out of a running car.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Way better.
One-wheel peel, or does it have limited slip? Ooh, not bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that before. Man, we made it look better and run better.
Way faster.
Roadkill Garage win.
And it looks a lot better, too.
Yep.
Let's burn rubber again. Look at that! Yeah! Oh, man, she's still spinning a Freiburger.
It's worthy of being called a 440 dart.
Yeah, it is.
You'll notice I didn't do the now customary donuts in the dirt because I didn't want to ruin our engine compartment.
Yeah.
And it's running perfectly cool. Remember before it was up at 195 and a plus because it had that thermostat in it?
And that crappy radiator, too.
And now it's running at 140 degrees.
Woo! Yeah!
This is finally a legitimate 440 dart.
Yeah.